Thank you, Maria. Okay. And is that oh, Joe, is that you in the background?
I'm back.
Yeah.
You're all
great.
tonight.
And can you go mute, please? Thanks. Because the script is fascinating. We'd hate for anybody to miss a word of it.
Exactly.
Members of the public wishing to participate in the meeting must use their full name for Zoom access. If full names are not used, people will not be allowed to participate in the discussion. The town reserves the right to remove any member of the public from the meeting who doesn't use a full name or acts inappropriately. As a preliminary matter, this is Denise Cronow, Chair of the Finance Committee. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative, starting with Joe Grouse.
Here.
Peter Schaefer.
Here.
Jill Veith.
Here.
Chris Glowacki.
Here.
Thank you. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative, starting with Terry Norton.
Here.
Thank you. And Brian Turbot.
In attendance.
Thank you. Good afternoon. This open meeting of the Finance Committee is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting of the Finance Committee, we are convening by video conference via the Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that the meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. We're turning to the first item on the agenda, but before we do that, let me cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker. After they conclude the remarks, I will ask the members if they have any comments, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. A second reminder to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking and to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. After all the members have blah, blah, blah. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. So may I please have an approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And Joe.
Aye.
Thank you. Peter.
Aye.
Jill.
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
Denise, aye. Thank you. I am going to open it for public comment and close it for public comment. Well, there's only 8 participants and I can see all 8 of us, so I'm I'm taking a flyer here, but I'm going to close for public comment. Any changes to the minutes from June 28th? If not, may I have a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Joe,
Sorry. Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Jill,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Denise, aye. Thank you. And now we are on the review and approval of 33B transfers and reserve fund transfers, at which I will ask the town's Director of Finance. Brian, over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Maria, if you could put the, let's do the reserve fund first. It's probably the easiest. Okay, so we're asking to transfer the entirety of the reserve fund of 500,000 to the solid waste collections and disposal line in the solid waste enterprise fund. As I've noticed here, we had a substantial increase in mixed excavation waste delivered over the year. It was approximately 2.5 tons more than was delivered in fiscal 21, which resulted in approximately a $750,000 increase in cost for this one line item. We also had increased disposal costs related to C&D and Nernix and hard to manage items, resulting in about just under a $1.3 million ultimate deficit at year end, which we need to close. This 500,000 will close a portion of it, and on the 33B transfers, we are closing the rest of it through a variety of capital accounts to fix this issue. I will let the Finance Committee know I'm going to make this comment to the Select Board tonight at their meeting. In fiscal 24, we will be proposing an override to solve this problem because it is not going away. And we are going to have to figure a way, most likely, to close some type of substantial gap at town meeting or through this process again next year. Given the building that is occurring on the island right now, it's getting more cost prohibitive or costly for us to dispose of the material.
Thank you, Brian. Questions for Brian? I'll start with Peter and then to Jill.
Brian, are we not charging enough for this business, this construction waste or?
So the largest driver of this issue being the mixed excavation waste, we pay on a tiered rate, Peter. We tried about 3.5, 4 years ago when we experienced basically, I think, a 1 fiscal year spike. We were paying $104 a ton to dispose of it, and we were collecting $30 a ton. We raised it to $60 a ton, and it all disappeared and ended up in various locations around the island because people didn't want to pay $60 a ton. At that time, we negotiated a tiered rate for the first 834 tons, we pay $100, and then it's tiered all the way down to $55 a ton after we reach certain thresholds in a month. But we brought back down the rate that we're charging. That's the long answer. The short answer is we're not charging enough, but if we make that change, this will all but disappear going here, and we have no idea where it will end up like it did the last time.
So we're buying down, destroying the environment.
We're buying down, destroying the environment, or this ending up in places we don't want it to around the island and
Right.
and doing that. So in essence, yes, we're buying down, people not disposing of it improperly somewhere else.
Thank you.
Jill?
Brian, what is the rate for like C and D per ton for them to bring it and drop it off? Isn't it like 372?
Well, it depends. Some accounts have different rates on what they're charged, but it ranges anywhere from 250 to 372, but it's not necessarily the rate that's the problem for that. Jill, it's more the amount that's being brought in is more than we anticipated as we were doing the process, doing the budget. And we certainly go through ebbs and flows during the year, but it's more a factor of just more being delivered to the facility than we had anticipated.
So just on I'm just curious more than anything, for the accounts that have different rates, why is that? Do they drop
It's
off
because
more?
it's all based on their utilization of what they're bringing to the facility.
And are those contracts, or it's just sort of like a list?
That's an agreement between Waste Options and the individuals utilizing the transfer station.
Gotcha. Do you have to approve those?
Yes.
Right. Okay. All right.
I mean, we certainly don't lose money on those agreed upon rates. We don't make as much money as if they were paying the full freight to go across it, but they're also, the majority of those are clients that have utilized it a lot at a much higher frequency than other people. So
Yeah, they're established. They've been around a long
Yes,
time, but
that's
it
correct.
sounds like they have different rates. And I was just curious because it seems like I feel like there's more and more of those companies now than there used to be.
well, we're careful when we approve them. We do have a discussion with Waste Options to make sure it makes sense. I just don't blindly approve them.
Yeah, right. But you
So-
approve it. You approve Waste
Yes.
Options, what their
We have to
recommendation
approve
is.
those changes if they would like to enter to do that. Yes, we do approve them.
Okay, all right. That's kind of all I want to know, because I thought it was like 372, but I've heard that it's as low as 200 for some company.
I think there's one customer that may have 200. The range that I've seen that I've approved recently was around 232 to 250. So
Okay. And that range, is that changed over the year? Is that like kind of changed every year or every 2 years, or whenever Waste Options think they need a change?
I think those would be changed based on a Waste Option observation. They're not just categorically changed on an annualized basis. No.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I was just trying to understand the process a
Yep.
little better because they're a separate contractor, and I wondered if you had authority over them. And so, yeah.
Well, under the Waste Services Agreement, we have limited authority, and we do the best we can to exert that authority we have over the agreement.
Yeah, but you're the one who knows the local companies, really. I mean, at the end of the day, that's Yeah,
Chris,
thank you.
thanks, Jill. Chris?
Yeah, the mixed excavation waste, that's largely associated with construction projects, Brian, is that what that is?
That's basically mixed excavation waste is dirt coming out of the ground that can't be used on the sites that is trucked to the solid waste facility.
Yeah, so this isn't for now. I mean, we're gonna have to do this. I mean, maybe as we discuss the budget for next year, it's just, I mean, it's just extraordinary that to think that the construction industry needs our subsidy. It's kind of wild.
I know. I will let everybody know on the committee that we have, and that's a great point, Chris, which we've internally talked about. Could we change the way it's being handled at the building department? And is there a way to add a surcharge or some type of fee in advance of this? Because most builders or developers would know roughly how much earth they're going to move out of the ground and what can be used on the site. So is there a way to recapture some of this? So it's something that we're looking at, maybe even being able to put in place for fiscal 24, but this particular category is on the list of things to pay attention to in whatever the next agreement looks like, because I would have honestly never thought, if you told me we'd hit almost over 30,000 tons in a year, I would have thought that we were crazy, given where we had been the last few years.
Okay, thank you.
Brian, the 30,000 tons, is that, I don't want to say just, but is that just 2.5 tons more than you expected, or?
I'm sorry, it's
2.5
I'm sorry, that's 2.5 times. My apologies. It's 2.5 times. My apologies. Yes.
I
So
thought,
we
well,
delivered it.
2.5 tons on 30,000 tons
Yeah,
is,
no, my apologies. That is 2.5 times more. Last year we delivered just around 12,000. So it's actually a little more than 2.5 times, but.
yeah, and like you, I and the rest of the committee, I am absolutely frustrated that an increase in cost, an increase in expense to the users causes such significant bad behavior that the town has to subsidize this. And I would, as we have discussions about this going forward, I think there is truly some action that hopefully can be come up with by brains bigger than mine on how we prevent bad behavior and get closer to a, subsidy, or closer to paying what it costs versus the town paying what it costs. Because obviously we could use this money for many other things than to subsidize people's So.
We certainly do agree, and which is why I've had preliminary discussions with the planning director on, because I know that we can't charge excessively high building fees, but is there a way to add an additional cost associated with the disposal of dirt that they're going to have to move and deliver there somehow, because it's really getting expensive to manage. So we have already started with those discussions with an eye at least towards solving it for 24 and what remains in 25 before the new contract would go into effect. And like I said, it's certainly something that we're very cognizant about as we go down the road of planning what 25 and beyond would look like in a contractual arrangement.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm wondering if there's something on the back end as well that says, well, you don't get a certificate of occupancy unless you prove to us you've delivered your dirt to the right place. So show us the dirt, basically. Yeah, okay. All right, so any other Peter?
Yeah, just one quick one. Brian, how much of this is pools? Because you're not doing other construction where you would need to use the soil. Is a good portion of it from pools, do you think?
That's probably a question, Peter, that I can't honestly give you a reasonable response on. It's any dirt that comes off a construction site that can't be reused there, essentially. So whether it's a pool or a cellar hole or what it is, I don't know, or something. There's no way for me to know exactly where it came from unless I looked at every building permit and tried to marry up the contractor to the deliveries versus what was there. So it's not something that's easily discernible.
But there's no way we could put a luxury tax on every authorization to put a pool in, every permit.
I think that there's a way potentially to add a charge to this, but that's something that, and as I had mentioned, I'm working with the planning director on how we might be able to implement that. Possibly even later this year, or at minimum for fiscal 24.
Okay, thank you. Let me get my pool in first.
Well,
You have to treat everybody the same. Sorry.
There are a lot of other things that take dirt out than that. So
Absolutely. Okay,
right about all the basements that went in for the last 12 years.
good. Okay, so do I have a motion to approve this?
So moved.
And a
Second.
Thank you. Peter,
Aye.
Jill,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Denise, I. Well, I don't know why I had to call my own name, but there you go.
So Madam Chair, just to let you know, tomorrow, Maria will send you via right signature, the reserve fund transfer to sign it, because you have
Okay.
to sign it as Finance Committee Chair. Okay?
Okay. That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, 33Bs.
So can I
Okay.
just make a quick comment on that, Madam Chair?
Chris?
I thought it was expedient to vote it through, certainly the motion, but I don't know, just super frustration to see the reserve fund used in that way. You know, I think that's something that we all think we're setting aside for some kind of true emergency that might come up, and that we see that money back in the budget
Mhm.
absent that true emergency. And so it sounds like Brian and the team has the appropriate focus on seeing that go forward. But I know we don't want to get in the habit of setting up a reserve fund and then having it spent every year on whatever.
On operational items.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you, Chris. Okay, Brian?
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. So as the committee's aware, under 44, Section 33B, between May 1st and July 15th, we can ask for the approval of the Finance Committee and Select Board to make transfers between appropriations. I think every year we're getting, well, in the general fund, every year we're getting smaller and smaller. I can't say that with respect to the enterprise funds this year, but so we're requesting transfers totaling $25,500. As outlined, we're requesting to transfer $23,500 from the general insurance line to cover, we underestimated the entire printing cost for the warrants that go in the newspaper. So there's $8,500 that goes into the general printing line for the Finance Committee. For fiscal 24, we will have that corrected. And then the town clerk, town meeting expense line, it was overexpended as a result of having the options technology and the professional audio services that we did by just about right around $15,000. And then we're asking to take $1,500 from finance and operations salary to cover some CPC overtime expenses that they've reached their statutory cap from the CPC revenue of $125,000. There was a little additional overtime that they needed to cover this year. And then from operating $500 to cover an overage in their operating expense due to increased membership costs that they have to be part of the statewide CPA organization. So all told, in the general fund, we're asking for authorization to transfer from those budgets $25,500 and transfer into the budgets, as I mentioned, the amount of $25,500.
Thank you, Brian. Questions? Okay, in which case may I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Peter,
Aye.
Jill? Jill's aye.
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
and I am aye. Okay, I think that's approved, and then select board will approve it tonight. Is that correct, Brian?
We are certainly hoping they will approve it as well, yes.
Thank you. So our date of next meeting, we do
No,
not
we
have.
have, Madam
Oh,
Chair, we have one more.
sorry.
We have the,
Oh.
so we have enterprise funds to deal with as well. So as I mentioned, the deficit was right around 1.3 million. We covered 500,000 of it in solid waste from the reserve fund. We are proposing eliminating all of the capital articles listed on this this sheet right here. Wind Street, we allocated 250,000. That project has not moved forward in at least 5+ years. So we're proposing to transfer that. The municipal facility bathroom equipment street, we're proposing eliminating the remainder in those two articles. Facility street lighting, we have an additional allocation in a subsequent year. So we're asking to transfer from there. along with utilities systems and $62,228, and then equipment replacement, which we have a subsequent article authorized at a subsequent 8th annual town meeting. So that totals $800,187.93, which will close the entirety of the gap for within the solid waste enterprise fund. And then the Nantucket Memorial Airport has asked to transfer $100,000 from their salary line. I will tell you that even with this transfer, they will still have ample salary line items from last year. They did a very good job managing their salaries into their professional services line item for $100,000. Total transfers of $900,187.93.
Questions for Brian? Seeing none, may I have a motion?
I'm sorry, just a quick
Hi,
one,
Joe.
Brian. Why does the thing say $800,000 to professional services as opposed to solid waste? Is that just,
Can you put it back up, Maria, so I can check and see it, because I don't. Oh,
right,
it should
this-
say solid. It should say solid waste professional service, because I put the Oregon object there. 70433 is solid waste,
oh,
but
so that's, all-
we'll
okay,
we'll make that change so it is clear in the document. But thank you for that.
yeah, it just wasn't obvious
Yep.
to me. So.
No, that's fine, and then we'll make the change for the airport as well.
Joe, you don't know all the org IDs by heart?
I'm still memorizing them, Denise.
Come on, Joe, vice chair now, step it up.
I know. I'm only up to the 550,000. So
Stephen never missed one.
I don't think he ever had to answer one either.
That's a detail, Joe. It's a detail.
Madam Chair,
Okay.
just another quick question before we,
Sure, of course.
just these bathroom repairs, Brian, is that something that they're largely completed and they're just coming in under budget? Is-
No, we actually, so any of those facilities, with the exception of the utility systems or equipment replacement, well, probably other than equipment replacement, could all fall under the $6.5 million borrowing authorization that we have. So we can still complete any of the work because we do have funding sufficient to cover them as well.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions for Brian?
Brian, are we running out of wiggle room to do sort of fill in these little holes that are popping up?
Well, I can tell you, trying to close 1.3 million took some nifty dancing to figure out how to do it. But I wouldn't say we're running out of wiggle room. The runway might be slightly shorter as we do this, but like I said, one of the recommendations that's going to be tonight is that I'm going to tell the select board that we're going to recommend an override for 24 to properly fund the expected cost to run the transfer station. That will also be in conjunction with looking at any of the opportunities to add additional charges in a measured way if it can be done. But I don't necessarily think we're completely out of room. I think we have some flexibility to do it. We probably would have had a bigger problem, quite honestly, Joe, if we didn't have the reserve fund. That might have made it a little more difficult to figure out how to do.
Great. Thanks, Brian.
Other questions? In which case, may I have a motion
So
Move
moved.
to adopt. Oh,
to approve? Thank you. May I have a second?
second.
Thank you. Peter,
Aye.
Jill,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
and I'm aye. Thank you. Brian, I think now we're done.
That's correct, Madam Chair. We are, at least with my part.
Thank you. Okay, date of next meeting still to be determined. Won't be until the fall. We won't have anything for the rest of the summer that I'm aware of unless I hear from town administration.
We do have that housing update there. I don't know if we're going to be, I assume we'll be in session for that housing update.
Yeah, if we have a quorum, if a quorum attends, then I'll have to call a finance committee meeting. But if we don't, then we're just there as members of the public, Chris.
Brian, well, they may, you're going to be looking for approvals from us at that point because you needed to come back with us for plans to spend the $1 million.
Yeah, we would probably, at the point that we're have a fully vetted program, and Joe and Peter can certainly chime in because they've been involved in it. I think the expectation would be that we would come back to you to present it prior to making any payments to anyone as was agreed upon when we discussed it. So we probably would need a meeting sometime.
But that won't be at the next meeting, you're saying?
It will not be at the next
Okay.
meeting, not at this rate, I don't believe, unless Joe or Peter have a different understanding or expectation.
Yeah,
That-
no, I don't
that
think
meeting's-
so.
Sorry, Joe. That meeting is August 2nd at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, no, Peter and I were in a meeting with Libby and Tucker and a few other folks, the chief, and we're still in the kind of what sort of program do we really want? What's the process by which people can apply to get a grant? Which people can apply, which employees, or rather, which employees can apply? I mean, I think we're starting to have a little momentum here, but it's probably going to be another month or two before we're close to having a program designed.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces and there's a lot of things that have to be approved by the attorneys. So it's gonna take a bit.
Thank
Well, I
you.
hope you guys figure it out because we're standing by to steal any good ideas you have.
That's why it's taking us so long. Not that many good ideas.
And we don't want to make it easier for everyone else.
Well, and it's, no, anyway, we could talk about it a lot, but it's, the question is, all the, how many employee groups, every employee that works for the town, what sort of limits do you put on it? And, if you make it too broad, you don't even have enough money because, you could blow through $1 million pretty fast. So,
Plus, I'm guessing the union dimension also
right.
complicates.
The concern is they don't want, that's part of the reason why the idea has been to sort of make a grant to the Community Foundation for Nantucket and then have them, manage this
Mhm.
program.
And
they
making
certainly-
sure, I'm sorry, Joe.
Yeah, no, and clearly they don't want it to become an issue for a collective bargaining issue with the union. So,
And we want to make sure that people understand this probably is a one-time deal and they shouldn't change their style of living based on it because we don't know if it'll be next year.
Mhm. Good. Thank you. Okay. So August 2nd, as Chris pointed out, August 2nd at 4 PM. If we are a quorum, then I'll call it to order, but otherwise we're members of the public on that particular
Right.
meeting. So, and just because, I like doing commercials, on August 6th in the morning, Saturday, I will be the guest at the Civic League's Neighborhood Association breakfast at Maya Comet. So Joe, when you're golfing, wave to me as I go by. And Brian, that's a heads up that, of course, I'm going to be coming to you before then to make sure all my numbers are right. So
What day is this?
August 6th, Saturday.
Oh, okay. I'll
Yeah,
be
no.
ready.
Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome.
So, okay. Anything else? Any other business? In which case, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Oh, Jill?
I was just gonna say one thing, just so you guys know, my Capcom meetings start tomorrow. So you think you get a break? Some of us don't. Okay.
Okay, quit bragging, Jill.
that's why they pay you the big
I
bucks.
couldn't
Joe.
believe it. I was like, I kept asking, can we just start a little later, like maybe after Labor Day to really help out? And they moved it forward a month. I was like, oh my gosh. Thank you.
Oh, boy. So, good. Yeah. Thank you, Jill, on behalf of the rest of the members.
No, I'm just letting you know, we are meeting, so I think we're just gonna choose officers or something, but it's okay.
There you go. Good. Okay. Anything else? Otherwise, did I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Peter,
Aye.
Jill,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Denise, I, Brian, Maria, and Terry, thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. We appreciate your time.
No problem.
Enjoy the rest of the summer, everybody.
See everybody later. Bye.
Bye.